Hello, students. Welcome to all of you, Shiksha 360. So, today we have to discuss the chapter number 17 of Forex, and let's start our discussion. So, introduction regarding that. So, direct investments by the residents in the joint ventures. Very, very important. Here we will discuss some of the full form. So, you have to aware regarding that. Clear? So, direct investments by the residents in the joint ventures basically JV, and wholly owned subsidiaries WS abroad are being allowed in the terms of clause A of subsection 3 of section 6. Okay, basically they are to be allowed. Clear? Direct investments by the residents in the joint ventures, basically where they have to invest, that is in the abroad. Clear? They are permitted as per the RBI subsection 3 of section 6 of the Foreign Exchange Management Act. These regulations are amended from time to time to incorporate the changes in the regulatory framework and published through the amendment notifications. So here there are also some provision, that is Indian parties are prohibited from making the investments or financial commitments in the foreign entity engaged in the real estate. That is real estate, basically where they are prohibited, that is in the real estate, that is basically meaning buying and selling of the real estate or trading in the transferable development rights, TDRs. Sometimes they will ask also what is the full form of TDR, that is transferable development rights, but not include development of the townships, construction of residential or commercial premises, roads or bridges, or banking business without the prior approval of the RBI. An overseas entity, wait a minute. An overseas entity having direct or indirect equity participation by an Indian party shall not offer financial products. Clear? That shall not offer financial products linked to the Indian rupee without the specific approval of the Reserve Bank of India. Any incident of such product facilitation would be treated as a contravention of the exact FEMA regulations and would consequently attract action under the relevant provisions of the FEMA 1999. Okay. So an overseas entity having direct or indirect equity participation by an Indian party, clear, shall not offer the financial products that are related to the Indian rupee. So journal permissions. So journal permissions have been granted to the persons resident in India for purchase or acquisition of the securities in the following manner. First one, that is out of the funds held in the RFC account. Okay, resident foreign currency account if they have, so they have to be invest. RFC account we have already discussed in detail, that is chapter number 11. As bonus shares on existing holding of the foreign currency shares. Clear? They have already holding the foreign currency shares, and if they are getting bonus, so they can also allow under that. Now move to the next one. When not permanently resident in India, out of their foreign currency resources outside India. So journal permission, it is also available to sell the shares so purchased or acquired. Clear? To sell the shares so purchased or acquired to be also here. Automatic route. In the terms of regulation 6 of the notification by the FEMA, that an Indian party has been permitted to make investment or undertake financial commitment, clear, in the overseas joint ventures or wholly owned subsidiaries as per the ceiling prescribed by the Reserve Bank from time to time, clear. An Indian party has been permitted to make investment or undertake the financial commitment, clear, undertake the financial commitment in overseas joint venture or wholly owned subsidiaries as per the ceiling prescribed by the Reserve Bank from time to time. Further, that is with effect from 3rd of July 2014, it has been decided that any financial commitment exceeding USD 1 billion, clear, up to 1 million they have permitted in a financial year, would require prior approval of the Reserve Bank of India when the financial commitment of an Indian party. Okay. Basically, journal, it would require permission if the transaction it is exceeding financial commitment exceeding USD 1 million. But even when the total financial commitment of the Indian party it is within the eligible limit, that is USD 1 billion, under the automatic route, that is within 400% of the net worth as per the latest audited balance sheet. Clear? It means that if it is exceeded, then if it is exceeded, that is more than 400% of the net worth limit, but it is less than 1 billion, even in that case they will require the permission of the Reserve Bank. Clear? That is financial commitment more than 400% of net worth and financial commitment less than 1 billion. Even in that case, the company, Indian party, will require the permission of the Reserve Bank. For the purpose of making investment or undertaking the financial commitment in the overseas joint venture or wholly owned subsidiaries, the Indian party should approach an authorized dealer category 1 bank. Clear? The Indian party should approach an authorized dealer category 1 bank with an application in form ODI and prescribed disclosures and documents for affecting such remittances. Clear? And prescribed enclosures and documents for effecting such remittances. Third one, the total financial commitment of the Indian party in all the joint ventures or the wholly owned subsidiaries shall comprise of the following. First one, 100% of the amount of the equity shares and or the compulsory convertible preference shares. Clear? So the total financial commitment of the Indian party in all the joint ventures or wholly owned subsidiaries shall comprise of the following. First one, that is 100% of the amount of the equity shares and or the compulsory convertible preference shares. Second one, 100% of the amount of the other preference shares. Third one, that is 100% of the amount of the loan. Fourth one, 100% of the amount of the guarantee other than the performance guarantee issued by the Indian party. 100% of the amount of the bank guarantee issued by a resident bank on behalf of the joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary of the Indian party, provided the bank guarantee is backed by a counter guarantee or a collateral by the Indian party. Clear? Even the bank will issue the guarantee only when they will get the required security. Clear? When they will get the required security. Sixth one, 50% of the amount of the performance guarantee. Clear? Here, without, any other guarantee than the performance guarantee, that is 100%. Okay? Total financial commitment. But in the case of the performance guarantee, it is to be 50%. 50% of the amount of the performance guarantee issued by the Indian party, provided that if the outflow on account of invocation, clear? Provided that if the outflow on account of invocation of performance guarantee results in the breach of the limit of the financial commitment, clear? Results in the breach of the limit of the financial commitment in force, prior permission of the Reserve Bank. Clear? So in that case, prior permission of the Reserve Bank, it is to be obtained before executing remittances beyond the prescribed limit for the financial commitment. Clear? So in that case, they will require the permission of the Reserve Bank of India. And we have already discussed in detail regarding that. Clear? Regarding the joint venture and all other points. Next one, investment in the abroad. So permitted foreign securities. So investment by the resident individuals in the foreign securities other than by the way of direct investments. Clear? So investment by the resident individuals in the foreign securities other than the by way of the direct investment, it is permitted in the certain cases. Clear? Where it is to be permitted, that is first one. Here first case arises, that is a person a resident in India being an individual may acquire foreign securities. Clear? That person it is a resident in India and they will acquire the foreign securities. Clear? By the way of, basically how? First one, by the way of gift from a person a resident outside India, First one, that is by the way of the gift. Second one, issued by a company incorporated outside India under cashless employee stock option scheme. ES. Okay. Provided it does not involve any remittances from India. Clear? Cashless employee stock option scheme. By the way of inheritance, clear, like through the family route, from a person whether resident in or outside India. Fourth one, that is purchase of foreign securities out of the funds held in the RFC account. Same thing repeated here. Maintained in accordance with the foreign exchange management regulations. May acquire the bonus shares. Clear? May acquire the bonus shares on the foreign securities. Clear? May acquire the bonus shares on the foreign securities held in accordance. Clear? That will be held in accordance with the permissions of the act or the rules and regulations made there under. Clear? With the permission of the act or the rules and regulation that are to be made there under. Sixth one, when not permanently resident in India, clear? Basically, when not permanently resident in India, may purchase a foreign security out of his foreign currency sources outside India, clear? When not permanently resident in India, may purchase a foreign security out of his foreign currency sources outside India. So that is for basically when not permanently resident in India. What is the meaning of that? That is for this clause not permanently resident. This will be 1 mark question you will get in the examination. What is the meaning of not permanently resident? Not permanently resident basically means a person that is a resident in India for employment for a specified duration, irrespective of the length, or therefore a specific job or assignment, the duration which does not exceed 3 years. Clear? That will a resident in India, but not exceeded more than 3 years. Next one, that is acquisition of foreign securities under the employee stock option plan. Clear? Employee stock option plan or scheme. ESOP, employee stock option plan. So resident individuals basically who are either employees or directors of an Indian office or branch of a foreign company in which the foreign holding it is not less than 51%. Clear? Any company it is to be considered as a foreign company in which the foreign holdings it is more than 51%. Clear? Are permitted to acquire the foreign securities under ESOP scheme without any monetary limit. The condition that the shares should be offered at a concessional price has been dispensed with. They are also permitted to freely sell the shares, provided the proceeds therefore are repatriated to India. Authorized dealer banks may allow remittances for acquiring these shares under ESOP scheme, where the shares under the scheme are offered directly by the issuing company or indirectly offered by the issuing company or indirectly through a trust or special purpose vehicle or step down subsidiary, provided that the company issuing the shares effectively, directly or indirectly holds in the Indian company whose employees or directors are being offered shares not less than 51% of its equity. Clear? Not less than 51% of its equity. Second one, that is the shares under the ESOP scheme are offered by the issuing company globally on the uniform basis. Clear? On the uniform basis. An annual return it is submitted by the Indian company to the Reserve Bank through the authorized dealer bank, giving details of the remittances or the beneficiaries. Clear? Basically whom they have allotted the shares. General permission has been granted to the foreign companies to repurchase the shares issued to the residents in India under an ESOP scheme, provided the shares were issued in accordance with the rules and regulations framed under the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. Second one, clear? The shares are being repurchased in the terms of the initial offer document. Third one, that is an annual return it is submitted through the authorized dealer banks, giving details of the remittances or beneficiaries. Clear? Giving details of the remittances or the beneficiaries. Third one, sale of shares so acquired it is permitted without obtaining the prior permission of the RBI, provided the proceeds therefore are repatriated to India. Clear that the funds are transferred to the India. sale of the share, it is also permitted. In all other cases which are not covered by the general or special permission, approval of the Reserve Bank, it is to be required. Clear? So in that case, approval of the Reserve Bank, it is to be required to be obtained before acquisition of a foreign currency. Clear? To be obtained before acquisition of a foreign currency. Next one. Transfer of a foreign security by a person resident in India. Clear? Transfer of a foreign security by a person resident in India. Clear? So how they can do? So a person resident in India that has holds or acquired foreign securities in accordance with the provision of the act, rules or regulation made thereunder, may transfer them. Clear? How may transfer them? By the way of pledge for obtaining the fund-based or non-fund-based facilities in India from the authorized dealer bank. Clear? That they will transfer that. Clear? For obtaining the funds. That is, in simple language, we can say that for taking the loan. So in the terms of subsection 4 of section 6 of the FEMA 1999, a person resident in India is free to hold, own, transfer or invest in the foreign currency, foreign security or any immovable property situated outside India if such currency, security or property was acquired, held or owned by such person when he was a resident outside India or inherited from a person who was a resident outside India. Clear? Or inherited from a person who was a resident outside India. Okay. So what are the general permissions that they will require in some of the cases? So residents are permitted to acquire the foreign securities if it represents, first one, qualification shares. What is the meaning of that? So Reserve Bank has given general permission to a resident individual to acquire the foreign securities to the extent of the minimum number of qualification shares required to be held for holding the post of the director. Clear? Post of the director. Accordingly, resident individuals are permitted to remit funds under general permissions for acquiring qualification shares for holding the post of the director in the overseas company to the extent prescribed as per the law of the host country where the company it is located, and the limit of remittances for acquiring such qualification shares shall be within the overall ceiling prescribed for the resident individual under the liberalized remittance scheme in force at the time of the acquisition. Clear? So that much amount it has to be under the liberalized remittance scheme. So resident individuals are allowed under general permission to acquire the shares of the foreign entity in part or full consideration of professional services rendered to the foreign entity. Clear? So resident individuals are allowed under general permission to acquire shares of a foreign entity. Clear? To acquire the shares of a foreign entity in part or full consideration of professional services rendered to the foreign entity or in lieu of the director remuneration. So the limit of acquiring such shares in the terms of value shall be within the overall ceiling limit prescribed it for the resident individual under the liberalized remittance scheme in force at the time of the acquisition. Next one, that is what are the meaning of the right shares. So a resident individual may acquire the foreign securities by the way of the right shares issued by a company incorporated outside India, providing the existing shares were held in accordance with the provision of the FEMA. Okay, so everything here it is to according to the provision of the FEMA. Next one, that is the purchase of the shares. So general permission it is available for the individual employees or the directors. Clear? So general permission it is available for the individual employees or the directors of an Indian promoter company engaged in the field of the acquisition of shares of a joint venture or a wholly owned subsidiaries abroad, provided, first one, that is the consideration for the purchase does not exceed the ceilings. Clear? The consideration for purchase does not exceed the ceilings as stipulated by RB from time to time. The shares acquired by all the employees or directors do not exceed 5% of the paid up capital of the joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary outside India. Clear? The amount of the shares, basically quantity, does not exceed the 5% of the paid up capital of the joint venture or the wholly owned subsidiary. Second one, after the allotment of the such shares, the percentage of shares held by the Indian promoter company together with the shares allotted to its employees. Clear? After allotment of such shares, the percentage of the shares held by an Indian promoter company together with the shares allotted to its employee. Clear? With the shares allotted to its employees, it is not less than the percentage of shares. Clear? It is not less than the percentage of shares held by the Indian promoter company prior to such allotment. Clear? I will repeat, that is after allotment of such shares, the percentage of shares held by the Indian promoter company together with the shares allotted to its employees, it is not less than the percentage of the shares held by the Indian promoter company prior to such allotment. So resident employees of the Indian companies in the knowledge-based sectors, including the working directors, may purchase foreign securities under the ADR or GDR, American Depository Receipts or the Global Depository Receipts, linked stock option scheme, provided that the consideration for purchase does not exceed the ceiling as stipulated from time to time. Clear? As stipulated from time to time here. Okay. So next one, that is last one, that is the restriction on the overseas investment. So investment in the Pakistan is allowed under the approval route. Investment in Nepal can only be in the Indian rupees. Clear? You have to remember that investment in Pakistan, it is allowed or not? Yes, it is allowed, but under the approval route as per the guidelines. And investment in Nepal only in the Indian rupees. And investments in Bhutan are allowed in Indian rupees and also in the freely convertible currencies. Clear? In the Indian rupees also and in the freely convertible currencies here. Clear? So next one, that is overseas direct investment by the resident individual and transfer of shares, we will cover in the next session. Okay. So thanks to all of you for joining this session, and for any other query you can mail on our email ID. You can subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates, and for joining these sessions and updates regarding that, you can join our Telegram group. All the links are available in the description of the video. So thanks to all of you for joining this session.